Our next reader will be Laura McHale Holland. She has a nice bio in her book, she told me. She is an author and an indie publisher. Her childhood memoir, Reversible Skirt, probably quite a few of you have read that very interesting book, which illustrates the far-reaching effects of a parent's suicide that can have on surviving children and other family members. That book won a silver medal in the 2011 Reader's Favorite Book Awards. Laura's stories and articles have appeared in such publications as Everyday Fiction 3, Wisdom Has a Voice, the Vintage Voices Anthologies, North Bay Viz magazine, the Noe Valley Voice, and the original San Francisco Examiner. The Ice Cream Vendor's Song is her first collection of flash fiction. And Laura, I'd like you to answer the question before you read from your book up here. Could you tell the audience, for those who don't know, what is flash fiction? Thank you.
Hello. Thanks, Deanie. Thanks to everybody for being here. I think to say that flash fiction is very, very short fiction would suffice. People, and I'm going on even though it would suffice, okay. People don't agree. I mean, some people say it's just got to be 50 words or fewer. Some go all the way up to 1,000 words. So, you know, I don't think there's a general agreement on what the length needs to be. The stories in my book go from 3 sentences up to about 1,000 words. Most of them are quite a bit shorter than 1,000 words. Well, I'm going to do 2 stories from the book, and I'm going to tell them instead of read them. And they're quite varied in terms of the style and the subject matter. Some are like prose poems, and some are more like folk tales, and everything in between. So here's Tide Pool Dream. He eats ocean wind for breakfast. She starves on sand. Cloaked in love-repellent jackets, they drag race across the past. He takes the lead, then she, then he again, back and forth, all afternoon. Will it always be like this? He asks at sunset. She shrugs and slides into a tide pool dream. He follows, the unknown nipping in their wake. Tide pool dream. The next one is When She Wakes Up. My niece Emma is a little different. It all happened when a family rafting trip turned tragic when she was 12. Her mom, dad, and brother all drowned when the raft turned over, and Emma was found hours later downstream, badly bruised, but still alive. When Emma came to live with me shortly after that, all she could talk about was how some Bigfoot creature had plunged into the rapids and saved her. Well, I did my best to let her down gently to the reality that it's fun to talk about Bigfoot creatures and sightings around campfires and things like that. But nobody but crackpots actually believe they exist. But Emma didn't take my word for that, or on much of anything else for that matter. So when she graduated from high school, she went off to live in the dense woods up in Humboldt County instead of going to college. Like I said, Emma's a little peculiar. But just last week, she called me up and she said she wanted to come and visit. Would it be okay? And I said, well, of course. But then she said, well, she and her boyfriend had a baby girl, and she was going to bring the baby, but her boyfriend didn't want to come because he didn't like to travel. Well, I didn't even know she had a boyfriend, let alone a baby. But oh, I was thrilled when they arrived earlier today. Oh, but the baby was all wrapped up and sound asleep, and Emma was really tired too. So they went upstairs to take a nap in Emma's old room. But before Emma fell asleep, she said, now, if she wakes up and she starts to cry, you leave her alone, no matter what. No matter what. But just a little while ago, she started sobbing. Oh, that baby sobs, they just tore at my heart. And so I decided I could just go in and tend to the baby, the poor miserable little baby, and then Emma could get some sleep, you know, get her rest. You know, every new mother needs her rest. So I tiptoed on into the room, and that baby was wiggling and wailing, and I picked her up, and I thought, well, I'll just loosen the blanket a little bit so that she can get some air, get that off of her face. But when I lifted the flap, there was no more weight in my hands. I saw no face, no body. The blanket held only stillness. I wrapped it right up and put it back down by Emma, and I ran out of the room, and my heart is still beating at the sight. I know I held that baby. I know I heard her crying. Now, Emma is off. I have always accepted that. But this goes way beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And what on earth am I going to do when she wakes up?
A question for Laura? I think everybody's pretty dumbfounded. Well, I have a question. How true was that story?
As true as any story can be. I think there's actually a little truth in any story, if it's a good story.
Well, certainly you're a master storyteller, but how did you come across your ability to tell a story rather than read it?
I actually went through, I'm kind of rusty, but I went through the Dominican University Storytelling Certificate Program many years ago. I just stumbled upon a magazine. I lived in San Francisco at the time. On 24th Street, they had a little news agency, and there was a magazine all about storytelling. And I didn't grow up with it. I had never run across it before. I had a toddler at the time, very busy. I read that magazine, and I had it by my bed for a couple years, thinking like, I'd really like to do this. I think I would really like to do this. And then finally I did. I went through the program at Dominican, and that's how I volunteered in the schools as a parent. So I didn't have to pass out homework assignments and tutor and do all this other stuff. I just told stories till my daughter got to be in about 7th grade, and then it wasn't really cool for mom to be doing that anymore. So I did it professionally for a little bit, on and off.
Dan?
I'm curious if you write the story first or you tell it first.
Oh, these I wrote first. I didn't actually even envision that I would tell them. It wasn't until after, when I was pulling the book together, I thought, oh gee, some of these would really lend themselves to storytelling. And then when I think about it, I can actually see how storytelling influenced a number of them as well.
Another question? Thank you very much. That was very entertaining.